even know how you do it. And I said, well, what do I do?
agree.
Like, okay, this many parts and all of
They
that.
can juggle
Because
so
I
much.
have even more amazing women doing. I know you. I know how much you do, right? Despite the fact that your work is quite demanding. We are here today having this conversation. The other day, I'm seeing this. That's women are great multitaskers, and I've seen a lot of my male friends say, I don't know how you guys do it. My wife, my partner does this, right? So yes, and if you can naturally multitask, what it means is that you're naturally more resourceful. You can naturally whip up more value. And then when you whip up more value, what happens? There's a value exchange, and then you can use that to gain resources and gather wealth legitimately.
Everybody wants to be wealthy.
So this committee you were on, in the one President Buhari invited you to, what was the proportion of men to women on the committee?
Oh, yes, we do have men. I would just roughly say it's about maybe 20 to 30%, right? In gender mainstreaming, we call them allies, right? And that is because, in my earliest days, in having gender conversations, we used to have panels and it's all women, until one of my mentors says, are we needy people? Why put just women, on the panel? Let's men be part of this conversation too. And I realize that most of the time when we're having the conversations, there are conversations that even men should participate in. So if you lock them out and you have the whole conversation and you need them to drop some maybe, and you need them to pick up some, and you need them to equalize, it's just a siloed conversations, and that's not what we want. So yes, on that panel we have amazing men who are leading and championing, amazing allies. Yes, let's give them their flowers. Who are championing great conversations. We have Mr. Suleiman Abubakar, for instance. We have
Well, it just brings me to the point that recently research has shown that it's when you mix your board, so when you have a board of directors and you're able to infuse that board with women, so you put a nice proportion of men and women on the board, that you're able to create more impact that way. That women are more likely to reason things out, think long term before they arrive at conclusions. But men might be more impulsive, more abrupt in their decision making. But women will be like, oh, let's slow down. Let's think about the 5-year implication of what we're about to do. What's the long term, because...
Let me summarize, Dr. Jibs. Who are the people leading us to? Look at the West, and the wars in the West. What's happening?
We know Germany is doing well, though. I think the Prime Minister of Germany is a woman. Germany seems to be doing well.
She's still there.
A lot of the Syrian people from Syria and all that.
Look at New Zealand during COVID, right? Yeah, Jacinda Ardern right now stepped down.
Yeah,
the management, of that was fantastic.
Yes,
we agree. Women have some power. We are not disputing.
But hey, we just say that it's more for us to raise stronger women. And stronger and kinder boys as well.
Yes.
Right. I think it's important too. It is. That's it basically.
Topic of the day: generational wealth.
Open the phone lines, Mr. Wiley.
Okay. People of Lagos, you can join the conversation by calling 0703 2277338. I repeat, 0703 2277338. And you can also call 0909 555 1039. I repeat, 0909 555 1039. So, generational wealth. How do we pass this wealth from generations to generation?
Beautiful.
What do you classify as what? My 200k my account.
It counts.
So tell us how to build it too.
Yes, exactly. Which is where I was going to start from. That you have to create first. You cannot manage what you do not have, and that's why. I'm sorry, I'll go back to gender finance. If you talk about gender finance and you just say, hey, women should save, women should grow wealth, and then you do not go into the creation, how they skill up, value up to create it, it's just going to be a nickel and dime game, right? 100% of zero is what? Is zero, right? Yeah. So yes, you've got to create first, and that's the way we've dimensioned this book. Right? Create wealth, preserve it, and then pass it
Transfer.
on. Yes, transfer. So in creating wealth, a lot of people, I think that's where the fuzz is most of the time. Like, how do I even create wealth? It's usually hard to transfer from thoughts to actions, right? And what I say typically is value, true value. Where there is a clear and identified value, it's easy for you to exchange that value. What we are doing right here is creating value. People are learning from this. So if someone says, I would want to, because we have a lot of people listening in, then you want to insert your products, for advertising. We have done an exchange of value. That person, gets more partnership, gets more procurement or patronage exactly of their goods. So that is it. You just got to create value first. And there are different ways, intellectually, via products. In the book I discussed a lot of things that people can even create from zero. Drop shipping is one of them. It's beautiful. A lot of us these days, the other day I was angered. I stumbled on a page and women were blackmailing another woman who gave money to someone randomly, saying that because someone mailed this giver and said, hey, I need to pay my child's school fee, I'm broke and I feel like I would
to cut you short. We have a call.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. Please, your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Jibola. I'm calling from Austin.
Good morning, Jibola.
I have a question regarding Solape's book, the book Street, the Woman's Guide in Building Generational Wealth.
Okay.
So at the beginning of the book, she explains something concerning...
Please speak louder. Please, can you speak up?
Okay, I said at the beginning of the book, she explains something concerning women and how we used to do better during the colonial era.
Okay.
Before the colonial era. So how does that explain to us? Is it from that time that we started having the issues, or it's now? Because she said during the colonial era, women, like, they were able to fend for themselves, more say in the beginning of the book.
Okay. So what's your question?
If the issues concerning women and making generational wealth started during before the colonial era or afterwards?
Is it a pre-colonial problem or post-colonial?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for the call. So she says she's asking if this shift that we see now in wealth creation, women versus men, or the fact that the society is more patriarchal, was it a pre-colonial issue or is it a post-colonial?
Well, history doesn't lie. History has it that before, that is pre-colonial, we were quite matriarchal. So it was post, the colonization, or during the colonization.
So you're saying that even with the way African men are very traditional. So back in the days, despite the fact that we have very traditional beliefs.
History says that then we had yellow days, and then they wielded a lot of power. So they might not necessarily. I wasn't there. I was born in the 80s, So they might not necessarily be the kingmakers and all of that, but they wielded so much power.
Because they were traders. Was it because they were traders?
Yeah, exactly. They were traders. They run the markets. They run the real markets, right? So they wielded, so much power.
Okay. So maybe it was the white people that brought a shift in thinking, or what do you think?
Yeah, well,
Or was it religion?
Yeah, well, it's in gender. When we study all of these things, challenges are deeply rooted in religion and culture, which are quite sacred, as is. And so the best way I say it, especially in partnerships where you have a man, where you have a woman, is that treat it as it is, work towards each strength, and dull your weaknesses. Take turns to lead and follow, take turns to teach and learn, rather that someone has to be the teacher and say, I am the man of the house, what I say. It's a recipe for disaster, because no one actually
knows it all. Yeah. All right, thank you. Over to you, Mr. Wale. You were onto something.
Yeah, children, definitely. If you're passing wealth from generation to generation, obviously, the children are the ones that are going to carry this. So at what point should we start to teach our children how to handle money?
Catch them young. Like they say, teach them about money. Teach them a reward system first. Again, it's tabula rasa. So someone that has been feeding, nursing, giving diaper, put food on the table, just assume. That's why we know when we tease, we call these children, we say they are freeloaders, because they just that child feels like everything is is just for free. So I'll cite an example. My son loves gaming a lot, and he plays Roblox, and then he would say that I should purchase Robux. I think that's the currency they use on Roblox. And I asked him, have you considered building a Roblox like this? You want to give some people money, right? So guess what? That spiked his interest into building. And right now we have gone from scratch to getting him a tutor, and he really read every time. Sure, you see editor, how can I build a Roblox? How can I build? That's what. So you've got to change some mindsets in them, from a me-centric to a we-centric, from consumer to producers. So those are things you need to train those children, right? I'm talking about, he's a 7-year-old, right? So you've got to teach them all of that, and then you have to start rewarding them. Yes, they can't pick a job yet, but give them chores in the house, and no chores are gender specific anyways, please. No chores are gender specific. Interestingly, my son took a lot more interest in cooking than my girl. Right, so imagine me chasing that boy, like the mothers of yore would do, and say, man, you don't be in the kitchen, and then so this thing is not gender specific. And then so give them chores, reward them. When they save, for instance, you can match it up. When they get money, maybe people give them money, for every time they save, just match up, and just keep encouraging them. I said all of this because naturally, culturally, and naturally, you want to give your children a better leverage than you probably had.
I have a caller.
Okay.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning. My name is Adi from Victoria.
Okay, good morning, Adi.
Good morning. I'm here to appreciate Mrs. Solape for joining us on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I have a question for her as well. How early can we start impacting in our children?
So, Solape, the caller is asking how early can we?
But I thought she just answered that question.
Maybe she wants a specific age.
Okay.
She said, how early can we start to impact on our children?
On our children?
How early?
Oh,
maybe she wants you to be more specific. You said catch them young.
Yeah, well,
maybe she wants that, professional advice that says 2 years old, start it. Once you put the diaper.
I think
brackets.
Yes, as soon as a child can make requests, right? Mommy, I want this, I want that. First, in my own case, I worked so much that when my children said I want this, I don't even, they have to rephrase. It's can I please have? So you do not want, you politely ask.
Okay.
Do you understand? Yeah, can I please have? So we took it from steps like that. But I would say roughly, from 5, you have to actively start.
Okay, 5. I think so, because
anywhere from 4, 5.
I know
remember things from
the method or the style from back in the days is have a piggy bank and learn to save.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Would you say we should teach them to save or teach them to invest?
You teach them to save, because if you're talking investments, you probably have to, for most investments, they don't even take minors. So you probably have to do it.
No, not invest like invest for real, but like would you be teaching basic?
I would say basic savings.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say basic savings. Yeah, in that early age, is basic savings where they're just, because it's in a piggy. So you can decide maybe once in a while, maybe quarterly, you mop it up, invest it on their behalf, so that it yields something, for them. But they've just got to save. Typically, the part is you save to invest.
Yeah,
yes.
But for the average Nigerian listening to you right now and is saying that, well, I love to save, but there's nothing to save after paying the bills. What can you advise such a person? How do they change the narrative? Basically.
And this is a large narrative. Looks like everybody finds it hard to save. But as they'll say it, like if you cannot save, let me use Nigerian currency. Like people say, if you earn a kobo and you can't save from it, if you start earning $1 million, you probably won't be able to save. And that's what we really encourage on Harvest, for instance. We'll say automate your savings. There is absolutely no way you shouldn't be able to save. If bills take up everything, you are, and I know that this is quite sensitive because some people just be like, there's absolutely no way I can. So you probably need to trim your bills such that at the minimum you're saving about 10 to 20% of your money away. And like I said, you've got just constantly to expand your means. And that's why I should drink Gary. That's what you're saying. No, wait. I don't say so. There's this sample I give even in corporate finance. I would say that sitting here, breathing, coming out of the house this morning, we've burnt fuel, we've done some, there's absolutely no way that you would not spend. So people will say live within your means. If your means is this, you keep living within it, but you've just got to expand your means. And we touched about, I wrote lengthily about that. So to expand your means, it's getting more, earning more income. Look within yourself. Look at the natural gifts you have.
The
side
hustles.
Yes, the skills you have. Side hustles, your passion. If you do. Some people would just interestingly want to just keep going up the corporate ladder, which is beautiful too. So are you taking? This is WWWH, right? There are loads of free courses to learn there. There are so many self-taught.
YouTube. LinkedIn.
Yes, so many self-taught people in technology these days, particularly, which is one of the reasons why I'm so big in tech, because I believe that it is more like a poverty alleviation scheme as well. Yes, I've seen, I say this, and my friend Kemi, just laugh. I said, I've seen where tech skills and tech rules broke generational courses, right? You're in Nigeria, you're earning $10,000 monthly. You're chilling, you're overballing, right? And this is something. There are things that you can evolve into by being very deliberate. People start with free courses, then they take paid courses, and before you know it, you are at a greater advantage.
But what exactly happens when a billionaire says, what, my children are not going to inherit my money, I'm going to give my entire money to charity, they should work for their money? We've seen people say
that happened in Africa.
I don't know about Africa, but I've heard some of the white people. I know Jackie Chan did something similar.
For real?
Yes. Even Mark Zuckerberg, I think he mentioned that at one point that he's going to ensure his children work for their money. Is it that they're playing psychological games with the children?
It comes to choices. I was reading a particular book, I can't remember now, and I think I got halfway and it became.
Sorry, we have a call.
Okay.
Good morning. Good morning. Okay, here.
Good morning.
Okay.
Sorry, call back. Okay, so
yes, I was just reading that book, and the author wrote how he literally struggled through things to grow wealth and all of that, and that he has a son now who maybe gets dropped in school with Lamborghinis, and so the guy is so entitled, and he feels like it's his own advantage that he has extended towards the son is now a disadvantage. And he feels like he was really spurred towards making a difference, being wealthy and all of that because of his peculiar challenges, his natural challenges, and that those challenges are not there to spur that son now. And so that's just talking about advantages going into disadvantages. So yes, I said so because I am not exactly in their minds for such choices, which we have to respect, by the way, but maybe that's one of those reasons to say that I have a friend, a Norwegian, who mentioned that one of the reasons why a lot of people in some particular, I wouldn't mention countries in the West, having spiked suicidal depression rates is that they are just not motivated.
Okay.
Like, they've just got everything.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Everything's at their beck and call.
Yeah, they've just got everything. Some of these countries, I think that will interest Dr. Jibs to know, like,
from the mental health angle.
Scandinavian countries.
Yes.
High suicide rate.
Yes.
But that's more likely linked to the weather, though.
To the weather as well.
They have less sun, more winters. Longer winters, less sun. The sun has a role to play in our mental health.
You are serious, Dr. Jibs.
Oh, very true.
Yes,
so I should go standing in the sun.
They have less. It's something we call seasonal depression, and it occurs more during the winter. And it's attributed to the fact that you're exposed to less sunlight. Sunlight plays a big role, in vitamin D production. When vitamin D levels are low, you're more likely to come down with depression. So not everything is a lack of money or... No, I'm just saying that most time you think depression comes from suffering. Lack of money and employment. Sometimes it's biological. You might have low vitamin D levels. You might have low iron levels. Yes. Sometimes they even have to get these lamps with the cell that you have to put in your house to make up for the lack of sunlight. Wow. Yes, they're brighter than the regular lamps, and that helps you so that your mood won't dip during that period. So
wow, this is an
areas, yes, it's actually more linked to the weather. Okay.
Wow, that's a 50 million naira advice there, man.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for calling the Legit Therapist Show. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Abiba. I'm calling from Ikorodu.
Good morning, Abiba.
Good morning. I would like to appreciate you, Dr. Jibs, for this talk show.
Thank you so much.
It's not a regular thing to say on radio shows. It is really enlightening.
Thank you.
And I also like to appreciate Mrs. Solape for her book.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Recently, An African Woman Guide to Building Generational Wealth.
Thank you so much. Do you have a question for Ms. Solape this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Please carry on. Any question for her?
Regarding her book, she talked about financial situation. Hello?
Yeah, please proceed.
Okay.
Yeah. She talked about financial situation, but then I want to understand if she was just biased on just for the women, or is it gender bias or just for the women?
Okay, so
the tips you have in your book.
Interestingly, a lot of feedback we've gotten, are from, men as well. I wrote this from the perspective of a woman, but again, as we said, wealth creation is not gender specific. However, because we've had a lot of stereotypes that needed to be addressed, a lot of unconscious biases that needed to be addressed, right? I wrote through that lens. But what it does is that if anyone reads it, the gentleman here read it, everything is it cuts across, and then they now gain a lot of awareness about even some unconscious biases that they also have. So it is it cuts across. I've had a lot of people say, I saw this on my wife's dresser and I read it, and then they keep sending messages.
But I'm sure from what I read, it's not like you're against women being homemakers. We can still be homemakers and still create wealth.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Again, recall that in this conversation we've mentioned that we are great multitaskers.
Yeah,
right?
we heard
exactly.
that.
Yeah, let's rub it in. And again, talking about homemaking, I see some, let me cite examples. A child is crying and the guy says to the woman, your child is crying.
Hold on. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Legit Therapy Show.
I'm coming from Surulere.
What's your name, Betty? Debbie, good morning. Good
Good
morning.
morning, Dr. Jibs. Thank you for the show. Good morning, Miss Solape.
Morning.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, so the question that you guys are discussing is talking about generational wealth. Solape, I think the olden days, women are not allowed to work. They are not allowed to be independent. They depend solely on the husband, and that makes it more. I think that men are the ones creating generational wealth to us. But looking at our own generation, women are becoming more independent. Women are learning to work on their own. Women are learning to be a survivor even with the help of a man. So I think the equation is now getting to a ratio stage that both men and women, we get to say that even women will be the one producing generational wealth for their children, because they are the one working mostly. Now we have a lot of women that they are independent. They don't need a man to provide for them, and they are trying to transfer the generation wealth to their children. So I think nowadays women are the higher rate of providing generational wealth. So that's my own opinion on the topic.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Women supporting women as usual. But back to that mindset where billionaire says, I wouldn't pass on, I won't pass my wealth to my child. I want them to work for their own money. I'm just curious, Solape, as a CEO and your child is growing up, maybe it was time for your child to come and work at Harvest, would you let your child start from the very bottom of the
On the
Yes.
ladder.
Yes.
And how low will you go?
Yes, I'll answer that.
Okay.
Right. Because again, I don't know, but there's this huge unquantifiable thing called dignity of labor.
Okay.
Right. We shouldn't deny people that. So to answer your question, my children, for instance, they say they want to work with Harvest. Trust me, right from uni they'll start interning. Yes, okay. Right from uni they start interning. So yes, they come out of uni and they are well versed and have all the oversight of how the business should run, if they are interested in the business, by the way, because that happens a lot where parents would say that their kids must inherit their businesses and all of that, right? So if they are interested, they'll start interning right from uni, and if they are still interested when they come in, of course they are not going to come in and be the managing director.
And that's the way to guarantee that the business succeeds, because when you bring a child that has no idea of how the business runs and you just put the child as the CEO,
the business might outgrow me such that it might require that Solape Akinpelu steps away as CEO for its next phase.
Okay.
Yes,
we've heard those stuff like that. Yeah, good.
Right. Sure. So the business is an entity.
Yeah.
It doesn't belong to a Solape Akinpelu. At the moment we have shareholders, we have directors, and all. So if my kids, any of my kids want to, they are coming into an entity. They are not coming into their mother's.
But I'm now curious. You're a billionaire, don't forget. So you're driving Benz.
Did you just say I'm a billionaire? Oh my God.
in this story, so your child is an intern, but there are Bentleys at home, Mercedes.
Amen.
So would you pay them the intern salary and they still go to drive the Benz
to work?
Yeah. Or you say no, go to the bus stop. Yeah, because this guy, the guy in Costaris, he did that for his children. He said my kids must know the bus stops in Lagos. He did that. Yeah, I remember him saying on air one time. He said my kids must know all the bus stops in Lagos.
Wow,
and
interesting.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, because trust me, there is that part of street smart that's required in growing businesses and all of that,
and keeping it.
Yes, and keeping it. So what I would say is what suitably works for them and exposes them to the right conditions. If you overshield the child too much, the child is just like the in a bubble, exactly, right? So let's be practical here. A parent has a Lamborghini and then the child has to go and take maybe public, if you look at how much the child earns, how much the child had remember that this is the same child that we have said that we have started teaching on saving, on reward system, on being having a producer mindset and not just a consumer mindset. So all of that put together tells you that that same child cannot, have a rewarding job, maybe even in second year of uni, if they even choose to go to uni. These things are changing by the day, right? And get himself a car. So if you have the right foundations in place, you don't have to bother too much about that child or how you get to work.
Fall in line.
Exactly.
Dr. Jibs, I think I should throw this question at you. Have been hitting, Solape back to back. So, how about that child that says, Daddy, it's enough being your child. I don't want to work with you. Your trouble is too much. And you're sincerely trying to help the child understand the things that you understand. So, come from the, psychological aspect. So how can you help that kind of parent?
So are you sharing your values with them? Because when you're saying that, it sounds like it's a clash in values here.
And more like, the child has a soft life now. And, working with you makes his life more demanding. Then when you get home, you're not able to differentiate between work and family, and you'll say, oh, Wally, come, remember that project, and you're like, Daddy, we're home, I want to rest. So the child just looks for a job elsewhere where he can work 8 to 5. So what advice do you have for parents that want to get their child to share their values?
I think if it comes to value, sharing your values with your children, I think it starts from early on. Just like how Solape said, it's a foundation. When you're close to your child, when you have that connection with your child from very early, your child will understand the things you value. They understand what you stand for, and you should be able to inculcate those things in your child or your children from an early age. I'll give you an example. So if you're someone that believes someone should have a lot of integrity, or you should be, let's use integrity for example. From a very early age, you should already exhibit traits that show that you're a person of integrity.
Lead by example.
Simple things like someone calls and you're there and you're saying, tell them I'm not around. So parents do that. That already shows that there's a problem. Then tomorrow your father now says, or goes on TV and says, I don't believe in. He already sees the little lies you already ask him to tell on your behalf from a very early. I don't know if you understand. So
I understand. Like you even bring me to a part of Solape's book where you're talking about being a spend trait and you're telling the child to save.
Exactly.
So you are balling and you're balling and
you're just giving them double cues, right? And trust me, children, they pick up all of this.
So your child will know what you stand for from very early on. If you have that connection, if you share that information, if you walk the talk and not just.
But where I was actually really curious, do you think the father or mother should just let go?
See, that issue you're complaining about, you are trying to intervene at that stage, but it should have been from very early on. That's what I'm trying to say. The child should know you from early on. The child knows what you're about, and then you guys will be able to get on well.
Share interest.
Share interest.
Okay. All right. I think we've run out of time, Dr. Jibs.
Oh wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Solape, for joining
us. Thank you, Dr.
Hope that you'll be able to come back some other time.
Sure. Happy to. Yes. Happy to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lagos, for listening. See you again next Wednesday, 10 a.m.
This is the Legit